Hi, I'm Josh Rounds. I'm a foodborne epidemiologist with the Minnesota Department of Health and coordinator of the Minnesota Integrated Food Safety Center of Excellence. In this video, we will look at an outbreak case study and focus on the methods used by epidemiologists to generate, develop, and confirm hypotheses about what caused the outbreak. Through this video, we will answer the following questions. What were the epidemiologists thinking and doing as the investigation progressed? How were leads identified? How did investigators decide when and how aggressively to follow a particular lead? Our story begins on October 8th, when the Minnesota Department of Health Public Health Laboratory notifies epidemiologists of a cluster of 2 Salmonella Group 1 4512I- case isolates that were one allele different by core genome MLST whole genome sequencing, or CG-MLST-WGS. The epidemiologists reviewed the case interviews. The first case involved John Doe, a teenager from Minneapolis who had become ill on September 20th and had contact with a bearded dragon at school. The second case involved a toddler, also from Minneapolis, who had become ill on September 26th. Their family reported no contact with reptiles. Their lawn was recently fertilized with turkey manure. Between the two cases, there were no common food items reported, just those interesting non-food exposures. MDH staff arranged to sample the bearded dragon's feces and environment and test those samples for Salmonella at the public health lab. On October 12th, those samples were positive for Salmonella. At this point, we suspected that the bearded dragon was the source of the teenager's illness and the cause of the outbreak. However, on October 18th, WGS indicated that the serotype of the Salmonella isolates from the bearded dragon were cassowary. That meant that the bearded dragon was not the source. So we returned to the drawing board. Looking back at the initial interviews, both families had reported shopping at 2 of the same grocery store chains, which we will call grocery chain A and grocery chain B. Additionally, both families indicated they may have baked with flour prior to their children feeling ill. Also on October 18th, the lab reported a third case in which the isolate was 1 to 2 alleles from the first 2 case isolates. Mary, a middle-aged woman from southeastern Minnesota, became ill on September 24th. She did not report any specific foods in common, and Mary reported shopping at a different grocery chain. The next day, we were notified that all 3 cases were part of a national cluster, with 13 isolates in 5 states. This included an isolate from ground pork from July. At this point, we decided to develop a supplemental questionnaire. We asked all families to re-examine their exposures to flour and other baking ingredients, and meats, including pork. On October 20th, John Doe's family was re-interviewed. They reported eating brand A salami sticks from grocery chain A. They also indicated that they used pre-made cookie dough for their baking and did not use any flour. The cookie dough was heat-treated during the manufacturing process to kill any bacteria. This meant that flour was a less likely vehicle for the source of the outbreak. On October 21st, epidemiologists from another state shared that one of their cases also reported eating salami sticks from grocery chain A, but didn't include the brand information. At this point, even though only 2 people reported this exposure, salami sticks were highlighted as an exposure to ask specifically about and to make sure that our interviewers got details like brand and purchase location. That evening, we re-interviewed the parents of the toddler and Mary, the middle-aged woman. Both reported eating the same brand of salami sticks, purchased from the same grocery chain that had been previously reported. After these new interviews, we determined that the weight of the evidence indicated that the salami sticks were the outbreak vehicle because the case isolates were closely related, 0 to 2 alleles by WGS, and tightly clustered in time. The cases had demographics that were distinct and compatible with the suspected product, with a young median age of 12 years. Additionally, the closely related pork isolate supported salami sticks, which were made with pork. Finally, and most importantly, all 3 Minnesotans had reported consuming the same product from the same grocery chain. At this point, we were confident enough that this was the outbreak vehicle to act. On Friday, October 22nd, the Minnesota Department of Health issued a news release warning people not to buy or eat brand A salami sticks. Additionally, the Minnesota Department of Agriculture reached out to grocery chain A, which agreed to pull the product from store shelves nationwide. The Department of Agriculture then collected unopened brand A salami sticks from a case's home and from grocery chain A. all of which tested negative for Salmonella. Regulators from another state also collected unopened brand A salami sticks from the same grocery chain, which tested positive for a different serotype of Salmonella, Salmonella derby. On October 26th, the salami stick producer issued a market withdrawal followed by a recall. By the end of the outbreak investigation, 34 cases in 10 states were identified. This outbreak case study highlighted how epidemiologists investigated a cluster of Salmonella infections to identify the source of the outbreak. Keys to the successful investigation were aggressively pursuing plausible leads and ruling out possible but ultimately insignificant exposures, such as the bearded dragon in flour. Discovering the closely related pork isolate, that was a key piece of evidence. Even though the isolate was not directly linked to the outbreak, it prompted the inclusion of questions about pork products in the supplemental questionnaire, which helped identify salami sticks as the outbreak vehicle. Finally, getting detailed exposure information like brand name and place of purchase, and re-interviewing each case about specific food exposures reported by the other cases, eventually singled out this brand of salami sticks as the one thing they all ate. Check out more of our tools, trainings, and resources, as well as more information about this outbreak through the links below.